I'm traveling a lot, and when you travel, you got to protect your data. You got to protect your privacy online. NordVPN.com/Fightful allows me to do that, allows me to browse safely and securely. When you go to an airport, when you go to an arena, a restaurant, a hotel, you're usually connecting to that unsecured Wi-Fi, which leaves you susceptible to having your data stolen, any number of things taken from your private connection or what should be your private connection. NordVPN.com/Fightful makes it a private connection with the fastest VPN in the world, a 30-day money-back guarantee, and a ton of other features in addition to that peace of mind that you get when you can browse safely and securely. And I'm talking all your devices: Surface Pro, laptop, desktop, PC, smart TV, router, phone, whatever you're taking with you. NordVPN.com/Fightful will add extra layers of security to your digital life. You can get a password manager, a file encryption tool. Be safe, be smart. NordVPN.com/Fightful. What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. Welcome to Fightful. Here with a name you know, and a name that knows a little something about needing security on his devices.
Oh, sorry. I hate you so much.
All ego, Ethan Page ahead of ROH Final Battle 2023 at the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland, Texas. How you doing, man?
Oh, do you mean two-factor authenticated Ethan Page?
Yeah, I definitely mean that. The last time I spoke to you was 1 year ago, about a week after you were hacked.
Oh, what a time. What a time. You know what I do remember, though? Eating those arepas. I'll never forget that, at least. Those were delicious.
My first thought when I saw your tweets was, this guy's been hanging out with Dan Lambert too much. That's exactly what I thought.
Oh, God.
Oh, but here we are, man. A year later. It's so far, I mean, I might have the longest streak of doing content with you of anybody. We have done interviews.
Oh, hell yeah.
We've done interviews. Let's see. Last year at WrestleCade.
Yep.
The year prior, Toy Vomit, and we did an interview.
Yep, that's right.
2020, we did an interview that didn't release, if you want to talk a lot about that.
Let's not.
And then in 2019, we had WrestleCade and Chicago. So listen, I'm trying to get those Chris Van Vliet numbers up. That's what I'm trying to do.
Hey, if I'm number one, that means I'm doing better than I am with him. I'm apparently competing with The Rock and Dolph Ziggler. So, hey, I'll take number one for sure. And he doesn't. That means you need to thank you then for promoting me as much as you do. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Well, no, we appreciate having you on. Now Dolph Ziggler is going to pass you on Van Vliet. He's going to take off. He doesn't have PR to answer to anymore.
Yeah.
But
he said he's already had 16 interviews. So that's
my God. My God. And well, here's the thing. Like, Chris is just going to keep moving away from wherever you are. Like, he won't stay centrally located. He just keeps moving around, this guy. But you've got a lot going on. In addition to doing interviews with people, ROH Final Battle this Friday. And I've really loved how this feud with Tony Nese has come along. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you. And I'm happy that the fans got a weekly, connected, congruent story on the Ring of Honor app. And that was a big part, was trying to make sure that we added as much value to the people that were paying for that subscription as possible. And they'll be rewarded with getting the actual pay-per-view on the app.
Yes.
So I think it's the coolest.
I think that's a really important part of Ring of Honor's growth. Tony Khan has said that has been an experiment that has worked out phenomenally for ROH. But he was also involved in your contract signing. I would love to hear how you found out that Tony Khan was going to be out there for that, because I know he is pretty selective over what he appears on screen to do.
I found out minutes before, and truthfully, he is one of 3 authority figures. And he was the only one of 3 that were in the building that night. And that's how the chips fell. And then now we have Mr. Tony Khan in the middle of the ring, which added a little extra motivation too. And it was amazing for me to be able to look him into the eyes in the middle of an arena and tell him my goals were to be one of his champions and someone to carry his company and be a face for the brand of Ring of Honor. So it ended up being a pretty special night for Ethan Page and Ring of Honor.
Did he give you any particular feedback of that, or was he immediately in guerrilla talking about justified "this is awesome" chants?
I'm going to be honest with you. I was so mad about the protein powder.
Oh
That
my
was
God, yeah.
a disgusting mess. And if you go back and watch the footage, Tony Nese's knee catches me directly in the cheek, and that was a straight walk to the doctor for Ethan Page after that one.
So what went down? You able to divulge? Like,
oh, no, I'm good.
How you feeling?
That's
You good?
I'm good. I'm good. It sent me into the Kenny match a little, but
Sure.
that's just that's the performer that I am. I'll always check and make sure. So we're good. But my man, that knee, not a fan.
Listen, you could have been running around like Bryan Danielson with the eye patch, or would you have went the Undertaker full mask route?
No,
If you broke
maybe,
your order?
yeah. Honestly, maybe the Cody Rhodes.
Ooh,
Yeah,
the clear. You know what? There's so many options.
there is
Like
tons of options for sure.
a style for everything, which
Yeah.
I truly appreciate.
Whatever doesn't cover my face, I'm okay with that.
So the I Quit match aspect of this, I love that that's been added, because that isn't
Yeah.
something that we see a lot of these days, much less in ROH. How did you feel about that? Was that something that you pitched, or was that something that was brought up to you?
No, it wasn't it was actually a Tony. He wanted this,
Okay.
and I think it's a perfect fitting way to end this. And the crazy thing, it never came to my mind the way things were kind of working their way out, and yet it to me is the perfect final point of this, especially the way Smart Mark has been kind of constantly reminding me that I quit all these things in my life and in my career. And he's telling me apparently I'm going to quit this fitness journey too. So to be able to add that stipulation and use those words and to make those words mean what they mean, it was awesome to be able to do the promo that I did last week where I have been taking L after L after L. And this is a thing, it's very public. If people watch whatever I'm doing, I'm losing a lot. And it's not something that I'm happy with. So to go into a match knowing that the only person that can lose is kind of me, like I actually have to say, I quit. And no one can force me to, unless they play some audio a la Mankind.
Has happened.
But truly, I have to be
Mark is scrolling through every vlog you have ever done to find that audio. He's just going through.
There's AI now; they'll be able to do it, no problem.
That's true.
but I don't need to give these carnies any ideas. But to be able to go into a match knowing, for Ethan Page, the only way he loses is if he chooses to. And I haven't had that option in any match I've had. I could get knocked out. I could get submitted. I could get whatever. I have to say these words, and I know I'm not going to. So knowing I'm going to win, that's it. There's no one can convince me otherwise. I'm going to win Friday at Final Battle.
To your point, the AI thing is very real. I did an interview with Cody at Ford Field. And my mic was unplugged. It caught only the camera audio. Our audio guy used AI to make it sound like my mic was plugged up, and you can't tell. You cannot tell.
That's not real.
It's real. Go back and watch it. You can't tell that my mic isn't plugged up. It's phenomenal.
Listen, John from AEW PR is in this interview right now. We have all this recorded. So if you try and change any of this,
listen, speaking of changing things, I once did edit the Miz's Wikipedia because I was convincing my wife that he had a twin brother named Mark Mizanin that would switch out with him all the time.
Could you imagine? I want a twin. Get me a twin. Split the matches. That'd be amazing.
What name? What name?
Well, you know what? You know what name pissed me off that people were calling Mark and Tony were calling me? Ethan Pudge. That would be my
yeah.
My twin.
It's not nice. That's not nice.
No, It's not.
Speaking of not nice, do you remember when Hornswoggle almost ended David Yost's career on your vlog?
Yes. Oh my! What a moment! What a moment! And David Yost seems like such a sweetheart too. Couldn't
He
have picked
does.
the worst person to do that to. That actually makes me want to ask you a question. How is your bone crunching action collection going? And have you jumped in on this new one that has been
I
kind of being re-released?
I haven't jumped in on it. I have ceased collecting bone crunchers. I am instead focusing on ECW, Original San Francisco Toy Makers,
Okay.
which I mentioned on your vlog. Actually, I was like, you know what? I'm liking
Yeah.
these because to me, those I can zero in on those a little bit more
Of
than
course.
bone
There's
crunchers.
less.
I've got
Yeah.
hundreds of bone crunchers. Anybody watching this, you want to buy 400 bone crunchers? I'm your guy right here. But I've
I'm sure someone
collected
listening
some.
to my interview is gonna hit you up for sure.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
might. You never
Yeah,
know.
for
You never
sure.
know. This past week, you did wrestle Kenny Omega. Looked at the
Yeah.
collision quarters. Popped a number. Did good. That's got to feel
What does
good.
that mean? What is that?
Increase the
What do you mean?
viewership for your segment.
Oh, that's cool.
There you
Nice.
go. How
Hey.
did you feel? I mean, that had to be something cool for you, not popping a number, but wrestling Kenny Omega in Canada. I mean, especially considering Alpha One's back running up
Yeah.
there as well. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's really cool as well.
It was amazing, and it's crazy because the last media tour I did for the shows in Canada, a lot of the people asked kind of very similar questions. It's like, oh, who from the roster that's Canadian would you like to have a match with? And Kenny was my answer every time. So now we're coming back, and I'm doing the media tour, and everyone's asking me, what are you doing on the shows? Well, I'm wrestling Kenny. So I was like, oh, this is fantastic. It was a great opportunity. Any chance I get to kind of showcase my skills in AEW, I'm going to do my best. And I've been working extra hard to kind of be ring ready and to be the best version of myself. So to get that opportunity against arguably one of the best going today, to show that I can hang and that I'm at that level, it was a good night for me. So I'm happy. I'm happy it happened.
You also had an extended program with Matt Hardy, which I really enjoyed that stuff. I loved what you all did. I
Thank
thought
you.
it made sense. Came around, and you could tell how excited you guys were to do that. How was
Yeah.
that for you? Because I mean, you really both sunk your teeth into that.
I mean, it was great to work with someone of that status and stature with that wealth of a knowledge. I mean, it was amazing to work with someone to be able to ask, "Hey, when you were in this situation, blah blah blah," and to have someone that has the information and is willing to share it, and not only share the info but share the screen. Like there was never a point where it was take and take. It was very much a give and take, and I think that's why people enjoyed the storytelling was because it was a group focus to go in one direction. There was never any like clashing, if that makes sense.
We've got a limited time on this interview. I'm sure we're going to talk again in 2024. We got to keep the streak going.
Hey,
But
I'm all about it.
one of my favorite moves is the Ego's Edge. And I
Thank
want to
you.
know, has there been a time when you launched somebody and you went, oh,
Yeah,
and you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah. You know what's
gave him
crazy?
the old Randy Orton. Oh.
There was definitely a couple on Dark Elevation. If you want to go take a look,
I do.
by all means. But I would actually say in my debut, one of the craziest ones I ever gave was to Scorpio Sky, ironically, on a ladder, and in between the ladder was Lance Archer. It's a forgotten clip, but I would say that's probably one of the ones where I was like, yeah, this is gonna suck. And obviously the Darby one onto the steps was probably he's got to land perfect on this one.
And he's just that guy that like you do everything. I mean that was the story, was that you found the most demented stuff to do to him, and he would just keep coming back. But the
And
Ego's
yes,
Edge
and
is
he
one
always
that
does.
the Ego's Edge, like there's not a lot of room for error there. It feels like.
No, I'll happily say publicly that I feel like I have got as close to perfecting the technique as possible.
Guys, check out ROH Final Battle this Friday, Curtis Colwell Center, Garland, Texas. You can watch it on Honor Club with your subscription. My gosh, let's see. 2019, 21, 2, 3. Our 5th straight year doing interviews. By God, Ethan Page. We got to. I'm going to hit up John in 3 weeks and say, give me Ethan again. We got to hit the 6 mark.
Heck yeah. Well, as soon as the calendar year changes over, I mean, I think everything gets a wash and we could start over. So.
Exactly. Guys, check it out. We'll have a post-show review on Fightful. Until next time, we're out.